Well, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the second Community Events Team Open. This is the APB tournament for 2022. Yes, I know, we've started quite late here today. Apologies. We will try to be more punctual next time. However, welcome one and all, and as you saw from the intro video, we've got our first match today between Godsting and Venia. We're going to be having the feeds open in just a moment. For those who are not aware of the rules or the rule set or the format, I urge you to go watch the previous VOD where we covered this in more detail. But as it stands for today, that is the match. It is a best of 7, and the teams are raring to go and just waiting for the kickoff. So we're going to be moving over to the feeds now, and we'll get you right in on the action. So stay tuned. We'll be starting very, very soon here. So, just as a quick reminder, for Godsting we have Exotics, Darlena and Melicide, who will be playing on the Enforcer team to begin with. On the criminal side we've got Venia, which is going to be run by Durrell, Danny Valdemir and Gifu. The two streaming angles you're going to see today are going to be from Exotics' perspective for Godsting and Erasmus's perspective for Venia. Anyway, I've waffled on far long enough as it is for now. Let's get on to the feeds here and let's get this first match started, shall we? Okie dokie, we should be getting started here in just a moment. We are going to be starting with the coin toss to determine which team will be starting first on the attack or the defence. The winner will obviously get to pick. And then from there, we shall get the first match started.
2020 districts. Can't wait till it's 40-40. And then there's gonna be like this random ram raider coming with his van right around the corner, pushing me while I have an item.
Right now, dude.
Nice.
And I've just been given the mission list that we are going to be going through today. We've got the list of missions for this best of 7. We're just waiting for the kickoff and the inevitable coin toss. I reckon it's going to be an interesting first match, though. The team Godsting obviously have members who are part of the winning team from the previous tournament. I'm sure they're coming into this with a bit of confidence, but I'm sure a couple of them are a bit rusty. It has been a while since we've done a format like this previously. Whether or not they've been doing in-house matches in between, I have no idea. But I'm sure they're quite confident, at least for the first match. And possibly seeing a victory this early on, but let's not count Venia out just yet. They have got good members on their team, and they are raring to go just as well. There's a very good chance that we could see an upset here on the first match. Anything is possible. We really don't know what to expect for this one, but it'll be interesting to see who will go through to the next round. So obviously place your bets in the chat as to who you think is going to be running away with the victory this time.
People are just gonna put them randomly around the fucking place. So? You can blow up with it, yeah. It can happen.
Now what will be interesting this time around is obviously the rule set has changed with weapon restrictions and various other restrictions. We're going to have to see how this plays into the strategies that both teams come up with, and obviously how it's going to affect their decision making going through the different matches. Now then, it looks like we're just about to get started with the coin toss here, and I think the first match is just about to start.
What do you guys want? Heads or tails? Tails, right?
Yeah, I got tails.
Sure.
Just want a quick check from everyone in the chat that you can hear the in-game audio absolutely fine, as well as the commentary, although that's not as important. The main thing here is we want to make sure that you can clearly hear the in-game or at least in this case, the stream feed. Unfortunately, I had a few difficulties trying to get the audio bumped up as much as I can. I don't want to push it up any further, otherwise you're going to hear a lot of ground noise. The audio has already been bumped up by 6 decibels across both machines, so...
I mean, we just played him, didn't we?
I think so.
Yeah, we got him in the mission.
Coin toss has been made. And it's heads.
Holy thing.
So, Godsting will be attacking for the first match. And in just a moment here, we're going to get started. For those who were here before, you know how this intro starts. Both teams conglomerate in this part of financial, and both sides will be lined up in the vehicles of their choice on either side of this small road that cuts through. And once the mission starts, and both teams are put into the mission, they're off.
Card hack arrest. It's a 7-stage mission.
So, the first mission that we've got tonight is Card Hack Arrest. For those who don't know, this is a 4-stage mission. I can't remember all the details myself. It has been a while, but it looks like both teams are getting ready to go now. So,
Ready?
I'm curious to see how both teams are going to approach the first match, whether or not they're going to go ultra aggressive, or whether or not they're going to take a more diagnostic approach to see how the enemy team plays, etc. And here we go! First match is underway. I would show you the other feed right now, but unfortunately it has just gone offline. We're going to be stuck with Godsting's vision... I can't speak. Apologies. We're going to be stuck with Godsting's perspective for just a moment. But it does look like Melicide has gotten onto the point right now. It looks like he's trying to take it quickly to get onto the next stage early, but it looks like the defenders have managed to catch up. And the first death of the tournament has happened, and unfortunately it's Gifu. Melicide taking first blood for the entirety of the tournament, and during that distraction it looks like Godsting have managed to get the first objective.
Getting cars, I'm just getting cars.
And straight after that, Exotic cleans up, picks off the last member from Venia, and they're off on to the next point. Defenders are going to have a short time here to try and get prepared and organise for the next objective, but it does look like they didn't get the best spawns.
Game me, please go next.
I've got Lena and
I'm more than close point.
And it looks like both teams are starting to close in on the objective. Both Godsting and Venia have managed to encircle this area just behind, I can't remember the contact's name, but a very common place. Looks like Exotics has managed to pick up a kill on Orgasm Reaper as they're starting to close in, eliminate the threats and get onto the point. But it does look like we've got Rasmus floating around, just waiting to see what attacks come in. I'm sure they would have noticed that death, and using the minimap they'll be able to see exactly where the teams are in. And here we go. Melicide picking up a quick kill there on Zimeno. Good use of the OCA. In the meantime, Exotics has now pushed onto the point. They're closing in from all angles. And I think they've managed to just get a team wipe. I'm sure their last member of Venia is running in, but there's not much he's going to be able to do here at the last second. Only a couple seconds left for this objective to be done, but it does look like Orgasm Reaper's going to get a grenade in, but it's not close enough. Looks like Godsting are starting to make the way out in a quite organised fashion. And 2 of them have already made their way out and heading towards the next investigation point. But it does look like the defenders are starting to try and get some sort of foothold here, and hopefully they'll be able to get a couple of their members onto the point before the attackers get there. But once again, we're seeing quite an aggressive start from Godsting, as expected. They're going for a quick rush approach where they get to the objectives as quickly as possible and prevent the defenders from setting up and organising themselves.
they're up already, up.
But Gifu, unfortunately I didn't catch that on the stream there, but Gifu managing to ramp off what looks like, I couldn't catch the person's name there, but one of Godsting's cars to just launch over the point. It does look like they have managed to get some defensive positions here. Exotics is setting up by Devil Dog, I believe it is, trying to get a pick on Gifu. Does manage to get Gifu.
You can go for it?
Rasmus is in trouble now, being threatened by the other two members of Godsting, and it looks like Darlena is starting to make moves onto the objective. Exotics providing overwatch and cover. Melicide now making a move onto the point, but he is going to be intercepted there by Rasmus.
Keep doing the point.
Rasmus getting a couple of good shots on, but it looks like Exotics is trying to assist. Orgasm Reaper gets the kill on Darlena. Exotics gets the kill on Zimeno, which is Rasmus.
Drop small item.
And they have managed to take the point. During that little kerfuffle, Melicide has managed to grab the objective, the item, and they're on their way in their Vegas to go drop that one off. The defenders are really going to be up against it now. They've got to get over there first, otherwise this is going to go straight to the final stage. Maybe not too big of a deal for them. There's still a couple more stages left to go. But at this rate, we are going to go see a final stage here.
This car's kind of fucked. Coil. We can 2v1 Gifu maybe.
Gifu's managed to get to the defense objective first, but followed very closely by Melicide and Exo. Exo and Melicide are just going to dive straight in and go for the drop as the defenders start to pile their way in, but it's too little too late. They couldn't make their way in time. We're on to stage 5 now. Exo getting a good kill there on Rasmus. Gifu getting a pick on Darlena. And they're just waiting to see what happens next, but it does look like Gifu's just trying to stall Melicide out a bit, and has worked successfully as he's managed to get out of there and has already started to make his way towards objective F. As we see from the perspective of Venia here, they are still trying to organise themselves and get in place before Godsting get there, and it looks like they got some good spawns this time. Gifu is running a little distraction there. Darlena was able to pick it up. Sorry, couldn't pick that up on the feed in
I
time.
don't know why X went out there, but they got me.
Orgasm Reaper has managed to get a pick on Melicide, and it looks like both Rasmus and Orgasm Reaper are now both on the point, ready to hold.
Well, Dalina both are there. Can you dive further? Oh no, never mind.
But here comes Godsting
Like,
once
maybe-
again. They're just circling, looking for an opening. They've dived straight in. Exotics is in now, but he's got barely any ammo on his primary, so he's going to be stuck with his Colby 45, trying to get a pick there on Orgasm Reaper. Unfortunately, no luck. Good defense there by Orgasm Reaper and good support there by Rasmus. Orgasm Reaper getting a 2-pick there, also managing to pick off Darlena with an N-Tech. Godsting have been able to get their car spawners and their mobile car spawns in good positions here. I'm not sure yet if Venia have noticed it yet, but I'm sure Godsting have noticed the car spawner right outside the defense objective, left by Venia. They're choosing not to go for it though.
My corner? No.
Looking to go for a flank here. Darlena's getting some information on the flank, and Exotics capitalizes. Well done.
Like in the middle somewhere.
No, I'm coming to you.
Oh, you went all the way back now. You went all the-
Trying to get as many angles as possible here, not give them any chances to hold an angle, so to speak. There goes Rasmus, getting picked off there by Melicide. Good use of nades. And finally, it looks like Orgasm Reaper's holding a very weird angle there, but Melicide is able to pick up the last kill there and thus go for the point. That is a team wipe. It looks like Venia are trying to make their way in again, but it's going to be too little too late once again. They just cannot get there in time. The mobile sport car spawns really not coming to their assistance there, but they should be hopefully able to get to the defense spot in time before the attackers get the item there.
Man, I hope they don't come
Axel's
already.
coming here, but I have no kongs. I have no kongs.
I do, but I'm gonna go sit. That's okay.
Yeah, Scar stag.
Bit of a kerfuffle there, but it looks like the defenders are going to try and use the overpass here to try and get some good angles.
Where is he, Danny?
But it looks like Exotics is having none of it. He's managed to get the pick there. Sorry, the feeds are a little bit delayed and the audio is going to be slightly desynced, but Exotics does get the pick there. He's looking to provide overwatch. That's a good counter there. Both Melicide and Darlena are on the point, picking up the last few kills. Orgasm Reaper is floating by the red containers, trying to get a pick and trying to get an angle on the point just to try and stop the drop, but it's no good. They're on to the last stage. It is a 3-point hold. Rasmus comes back in from a spawn and gets a pick on Exotics there, and it's going to be a race to the finish. We're going to have to see which team manages to get to the objective location first, and who is going to get the first pick here. Now, this is an interesting final location. This is just opposite from... Oh, good heavens, I can't remember the criminal contact's name.
Exotics.
Is China?
It's been a while, apologies, but it is a known location. This is a well fought out and fought over area. This is kind of where the elevated car park is, as well as some of the throughputs here just opposite of one of the criminal contacts further north. But they are going to be using those entry points there to try and get some angles, and it looks like Exotics is going to try and get a pick here on
How much?
I didn't tag this.
one of Venia, but unable to do so. No, never mind. Exotics did get a pick on Orgasm Reaper. Gifu was able to pick up Melicide, and then Rasmus was able to finish off Exotics there. So, despite this, it does look like Darlena, in the meantime, has managed to capture 2 of the objectives before Venia could do anything, and thus it's up to Venia now to pick up the pieces. So the early lead goes to Godsting here in the final stage. Exotic's trying to get a pick there on Orgasm Reaper as he gets a car spawner down close to the objective J. Could be useful towards the end of this stage. We'll have to wait and see. Looks like Melicide is going to try and move in now on both Orgasm Reaper and Rasmus. Trying to nade the car, but no luck. They are trying to get a kill here on him and able to do so. But looks like a double kill there from Darlena. Good use of nades there to pick off Orgasm Reaper first. And then Rasmus getting picked off with the carbine. It looks like Exotics has now made his way into the central area where these objective locations are. He's looking for the third man of Venia to try and pick him off before they start taking the points. And in the meantime, they will secure objective J. Meanwhile, on the opposite side for Venia, they are pushing in from the criminal spawn and are going to try and hold a front here from objective K and I. If they can hold this, they will win this when the time runs out, or they will get the points first. So this is all to play for, and it's going to be up to Godsting as to what they're going to come up with here to try and flush out these pretty entrenched Venia members here.
Yeah, they're gonna go around.
Exotis is up on top of the balcony there, looking to try and get a grenade down onto the target below him. No luck, unfortunately. Melicide floating around the objective K point, while Darlena is just below the windowed, kind of elevated bridge there. I'm not sure what to describe it as. Melicide gets a pick on Rasmus with a grenade. Darlena gets a nice pick on Gifu there, and it really does look like they're holding this entire location down as they start to pick up objective K. And it looks like they will try to make movements onto I, possibly, but they might just leave it because it is quite a bit of a way away, and it's going to be a lot easier for them to hold both objective J and K together. But despite this, they are going to take objective I as well, just to try and regain the point lead here. Looks like they're trying to dive in quickly. No luck. Exotics has got that really strong defensive position here. It's going to be very difficult for Venia to try and flush him out. He's got plenty of space to move and dodge grenades, so they're going to have to do a coordinated approach here if they want to try and push Godsting off the objectives. But all 3 points are now being held by Godsting, and it's all to play for Venia to try and make a move in. So we quickly head over to Venia's feed here. They are going to try and approach here from multiple angles, but it looks like they're a little bit disconnected from each other. Gifu kind of going in on his own there, getting picked up by both Melicide and Darlena. Orgasm Reaper's just on his own there, floating around, waiting to try and make an entrance at some point. And Rasmus is just not there. It looks like they are trying to get angles here and try and attack from various different positions, but without the synergy, they're not going to make too much progress here. And as the time ticks down, the points keep going up, and Godsting just increased their lead. Melicide is holding the elevated car park there, and has definitely spotted Rasmus now. Gifu hiding underneath, looking to try and possibly throw a nade up to flush Melicide out. Gifu's now making a run for it. He's going to try and dive Melicide here. Is he successful? No. Melicide has managed to get the pick. Melicide, Darlene's also picked up Orgasm Reaper as well, which I think is Danny Valdemir. So Rasmus is left to try and make some sort of move here, but with the car spawner on objective I, it's going to be very difficult for this team to push this if Godsting can hold them far enough away and prevent them from getting inside between this building, between the buildings, and into that sort of open space in between. Not sure what you would call that, unfortunately. Meanwhile, from Exotic's position, as my OBS crashes, they are still holding the top spot. Just bear with me 2 moments. I do apologise. Let me restart my OBS here. I'll try and keep the feed open for you and let you know what's going on. Bear with me 2 moments, please. I do apologise. Just bear with me 2 moments. I do apologise. Bear with me. I'm sorry. Slight technical difficulties. Please wait. In the meantime, Exotics has managed to get a 2-pick on both Gifu and Rasmus. They are holding down. Exotics has dropped down and is getting the final pick there on Danny Valdemir. It looks like it's all fallen apart. He has got the triple kill and the team wipe. I'm getting the feeds back now. Just bear with me 2 moments, please. And we should be back in just a moment. Sorry about that. And we're back. Terribly sorry about that. Let's continue here. So it looks like Melicide has managed to get a pick on Gifu as they are trying to pick up kills here, but it's too little too late. The first round is going to go to Godsting here as they managed to get a clean sweep on Venia there and managed to win via points. Apologies for the interruption there and the crash for OBS. I sincerely hope it doesn't happen again, but I will have to keep an eye on it. But 1-0 to Godsting. Good start there for the teams. A very aggressive approach from Godsting, looking to trying to rush the points as quickly as possible and try to really get to them before the enemy team can really mobilize and set up. Very good strategy. Keeps them on the toes, makes it much harder to defend. But we'll have to wait and see if this is going to be something that continues as the match progresses. I'm sure Venia are going to take lessons from this and try to adjust their strategy moving forward. And we'll have to wait and see what they decide to come up with leading into the second match here. Or the second round, rather. But some very good moments there. Unfortunately, we did lose the moment that Exotics got the triple kill, but thankfully, all the members who are playing today will be recording their perspective, and you too can watch from their feed specifically if you would like. That is twitch.tv/exotics with a Z at the end. And if you wish to watch the Venia side of things, you can watch Rasmus's stream at twitch.tv/GAYBOBBOB. But a tremendous start there from both teams. Couple of picks. It was quite one-sided, admittedly, and it did look like Godsting really had a grip on the entire match there from the get-go. A small little bit of teething issues at the start, but they were able to really mobilise and push through the defences of Venia there. So it's really going to be all on Venia to come up with an answer to this and with an answer to Godsting's strategy if they wish to even get a match off them. It's going to be tough, it's going to be an uphill struggle, but we hope for the best. As both teams get ready here to start the second match. Venia are on the attack and will be playing the mission Economic Recovery. Again, I cannot remember the details of this. I should have the information in front of me. Alas, I do not. I will try to have the information in front of me for next time. Apologies. But we're about to get started here with round 2.
I hope they're not getting a free objective now.
I don't know what's
About to just drive off and we're like waiting.
Something wrong? Wait, we have to read it out?
no.
Maybe Morel can disband their mission now.
They were driving off, like they got a
Yeah,
mission.
I mean, they had mission. That's fine.
Some slight issues here as we get the second match underway. We're just trying to get both teams organised. But it does look like one of the teams has accidentally accepted a mission against a couple of... a random bunch of other players who happen to be in the mission district as well. But here we go.
It's right next to us.
Here we go.
Highway
Round
needed.
2, and it's immediately a very quick start there from
One of the
Godsting to try and
objectives, like,
mobilise and get
transfer really
onto positions early to start defending these points. But it
Let's
does
hope
look
it turns
like
up.
Venia are also in the area as it is.
Swapping HRM.
And
Swapping
Darlena gets the
HRM.
first pick of match 2 with the carbine. Orgasm Reaper responds by getting a pick on
gonna be
Darlena.
He's doing the point now.
It's a 2v2 going into it now. Exotic switching to the
He's, like,
HVR to
next
get
to
that
the alley, right next to him.
all-important tag, and it looks like Melicide will pick up the kill on Danny Valdemir.
He's on highway.
Gifu is on the highway trying to hold the point, but it looks like Exotics has spotted him. He's going to try and get an aid on his vehicle here if Gifu tries to rush. Melicide and Darlena just floating around underneath, making it difficult for Venia to identify where they are.
Try to get his car.
Meanwhile, from the perspective of Venia, they are starting to make a push now from the highway and are going to make a coordinated push all the way from the top, rushing all 3 members in. Exotics has definitely caught wind of this and is going to be ready with a nade most likely, so here we go.
It's probably a ramp.
Yeah, he's car.
He's tried to nade it, but he's missed. Orgasm Reaper tries to respond with a nade.
One's right below me.
Yeah, Kifu is pushing you. He's pushing you.
Too little, too late, unfortunately. Gifu does get rammed by Exotics, as Exotics is just distracting them, waiting for the other 2 members of Godsting to push up and try to finish the Venia team off here.
Yeah, relax. It's just a mouse and calculator.
Alina, attack the load. Alina, attack the load.
Constantly changing positions here. They don't want to get out of their vehicles, because as soon as they do, they will get eliminated by all the setup members of Godsting.
Man, I can't hold, man. Exotic is trying to shoot at me with this.
He's tagged Exotic.
Rasmus getting tagged there by both, or getting tagged there by Darlenko. From below, he's looking for other members, but he's got no support there. Gifu is trying to make a move, but not really able to do much. He tries to get the drop on Darlena. He does manage to do it. Rasmus gets the kill on Darlena. Melicide gets the kill on Gifu here. Exotics is starting to make his way down to try and get a pick here on Rasmus. We're not sure if he's going to. Let's find out. Oh, almost a kill there from Rasmus. I think that was a 5 out of 6 on the carbine, if I counted the shots there.
I'm getting pushed by Darlena, probably.
Exotics is moving back up to the top here to try and get a pick on Gifu. He's swapped to the HVR for that all-important overwatch. He's now being threatened by 2 members from Venia and is going to try and run away now, but his vehicle is critically damaged. Darlena does get a pick there on Rasmus, who is down below. Exotics is trying to distract these other 2 members of Venia as much as they can. Gifu putting pressure there on Exotics, but not that much. Gifu is getting tagged by the HVR, chooses to jump back into his vehicle, manages to get rid of Exotics' vehicle, so he is now going to be pretty motionless, and Gifu manages to get the pick. Exotics is going to be out of the way there for a few crucial seconds, so we'll have to see what Melicide and Darlena can do to hold off Venia's push here. But they're not really making that much of a move. They need to be quicker than this if they really want to make the most of the dead members of Godsting. As Exotics makes a mad dash to try and get in onto the objectives here. He has got vision on the objective B point. Rasmus didn't spot. Gifu didn't spot Exotics either there. Exotics has managed to get him pretty free. Gifu gets picked up quite quickly. Darlena manages to get the kill on Danny Valdemir, and Rasmus gets picked off by Exotics as well. That is another team wipe for Godsting. There's only 50 seconds left on the clock here. If Venia are going to do something, it's going to have to be now. But Godsting are set up pretty strong here. It's going to be very difficult for them to make a push through.
I think they're going to spawn where...
So move over to the perspective of Venia here. They're making one last mad dash to try and get onto the point. I'm not sure how far the objective is done, but they are getting naded quite heavily here. And unfortunately, Rasmus wasn't able to do much. Good coordinated grenades there by Godsting members. I think that was Darlena and Melicide. Exotics is looking to set up again on the ramp up on the overpass. Gets naded quite heavily there and is finished off by Danny Valdemir. Good grenades there by Danny. Only 14 seconds left on the clock here. There is really not much time left for them. If they're going to get it, they have to get it now. 10 seconds left. Gifu's got to get it on the point. Danny Valdemir's got to get on the point. He hasn't done it. Melicide picks them both off. He does get the kill, but he's nowhere near. That's 2-0 to Godsting.
I did 56 on
So
him.
if I had APs...
Very,
if I
very
actually
stalwart
had
defence
APs
there by
I figured that I
Godsting,
would probably-
utilising all the angles they had available to them for that objective. The roofs, the
I already got
overpass,
it.
everything. Very good use of distraction tactics there, just trying to stall and delay the advance of Venia as much as possible so they could not coordinate any sort of attack. And it looks like Venia got too distracted trying to pick off one member of Godsting instead of trying to push as much as possible and threaten the point. And as a result, the focus got taken away from the objective and was more focused on getting the kills on Godsting. What might be helpful for them is to try and possibly utilise a distraction tactic as well, put a lot of emphasis and effort into attacking one member and have the third member try and sneak in. It might not work though. Godsting do seem to be able to take on these 2-on-1 scenarios quite comfortably, so it is going to be one hell of an uphill struggle for Venia to get back from this 2-0 deficit this early on into the match.
Man, this is awesome.
But very good defensive strategies there by Godsting, and as a result they get the win on the first stage.
It's automatic. Now we defend.
So it's back to defense for Venia. Godsting will be on the attack here for round 3.
Dude.
We're just waiting for both teams to be ready.
CET stream, man.
Let's go, 'cause in this match-
Dude, we will have to break up for the show this stream.
Man, if it is
Ready, right?
Yeah.
You ready as well, then?
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking to them or something?
District chat?
Oh, I have that shit turned on.
Yeah, same usually, but I feel like asking if we're ready. So.
Jump the fence.
Jump the fence. I think it's
So
just
our
like
third
something
match
like
to be our third mission to be played today will be Jump the Fence. Godsting will be on the attack. Venia will be on the defense. We're just waiting for the teams to get ready. Apologies, my phone was way too close to my microphone, or my PC for that matter, and we are under
that.
away.
Can I go for the fast Miller?
Godsting have already made their way to the objective first, and
So,
Venia
shot,
are still
that's
to
Okay.
mobilise. Melicide getting a quick pick there on Rasmus. Good use of the concussion grenade. Only 2 members left of Venia to try and defend this first point. Good initial threats there by Exotics onto Danny Valdemir. He tries to drive in. He gets the kill on Melicide. Good use of the car. Jumps straight back in. He's not going to get out of there safely if he tries to drive back out. Exotics isn't waiting though. He's going to try and reposition here and get onto those next 2 objectives quickly before Venia can do really anything to defend this. But it does look like Venia are starting to get their vehicles ready. They're starting to push this, and they need to be quicker. They need to be quicker.
Yeah, you can climb up. Highway.
And just like that, Danny Valdemir gets picked off by 2 good grenades there from
I couldn't do
Godsting,
shit yet. I just-
and then picked off with a 45.
I did a really stupid push.
Looks like Melicide is going to take objective B here. He is left uncontested. There is a bit of a fight going upstairs on the overpass between Darlena, Rasmus, and another member from Venia, but again, they're being distracted by 1 member from Godsting, and 2 members from Venia are having to deal with it. This deficit is not going to work in their favour, and if it continues like this, they are really not going to be able to put much of a defence up here. They're going to have to take these fights one-on-one, or at least be a lot quicker when finishing off their target in a 2v1 scenario. We've got one last member of Venia trying to defend objective C, but he has not got a line of sight on the point, so he will not be able to do much here, as Godsting pick up a pretty easy first stage here, or second stage for that matter, but they do have to drop these vehicles off. And this is something that Venia might be able to maximise their defensive capability on by hopefully getting rid of the vehicles early here and preventing them from dropping it off. But Godsting do have plans in motion here. They are trying to let Exotics move first, push through the defences of Venia, let the cars get through safely, distract them enough so that they can't get the grenades on. And it has worked flawlessly. One of the vehicles has already been dropped off. The second vehicle is being picked up as we speak, as there is a little bit of a skirmish going on at the drop-off point between Rasmus and Darlena. Darlena getting the pick there as Rasmus gets stuck under the piping below the overpass. Orgasm Reaper gets a push onto Exotics here. But well held off there by Exotics. They do manage to drop off the second vehicle. They're now going to go pick up the item from the 4th stage here.
4 minutes.
They've got 4 minutes to pick up this item. I don't think it's going to take them that long. But we'll have to wait and see if Venia even decide to defend this objective, as this is going to be quite tricky for them to do so. All one of the members of Godsting have to do is run over the point and press the use key, whatever they have it bound to.
He's in the car close to ramp. I guess that's one.
One is down.
Looks like Godsting are opting to try and control the zone first, wipe the team, then pick up the item. I stand corrected. They've gone ahead and picked up the item, knowing that the objective was safe. A few good grenades in there from Venia, but not much going on, and it looks like the last member of Godsting's going to sneak out with the objective here as the 2 members of Godsting, Exotics and Darlena, go for the picks on the defenders of Venia. Again, Venia nowhere to be seen. They are trying to get to the next point in time, but it's going to be too little too late. Darlena is already over there. Sorry, Melicide is already over there, dropping the item off. We go to the final stage already. A nice clean sweep there from Godsting, going straight to the final point, which will be an item hold, a maximum of 120 points to win. 7 minutes on the clock. The question is, which team will get there first? And it looks like Venia are going to take the initiative and get there first. But this is going to be one hell of a fight, because it looks like Godsting have now pushed in as well. They are going to take the highway as... well, they're going to try and take control of the highway first to try and control the area. Gifu is distracting them. This might give them all the necessary time they need to get a small but significant lead. Gifu dodging the ramming attempt there. Rasmus kind of floating around, getting picked up there by Exotics. He might be in trouble here, but manages to get into his car in time. They still have the item. It does look like Melicide is trying to sneak in from the from Tiptoe's car garage, and he is successful. He's managed to pick up the item. And now it's up to Venia. Gifu getting caught out there by 2 members of Godsting. He is still alive somehow. The other 2 members of Venia are still in there. Melicide getting the pick, and it's another team wipe for Godsting. Stelina picks up the last member of Venia, being Danny Valdemir there. With car spawners and a mobile ammo spot on the overpass, it looks like this is going to be another win for Godsting here. And they'll only need one more to take the first match, and the first match of the tournament, actually.
Need ammo, bro. Waiting for it.
So, as the members of Godsting set up here for the defense, it looks like they have already retaken the lead from the very small lead that Venia had as they picked up the item first. Moving over to Venia's perspective, they are still taking quite a long time to mobilise, get in position, get ready, and again, if you can see where the teammate markers are relative to each other, they're quite spread out. They're not really supporting each other here, but it looks like Danny Valdemir is going to link up with Rasmus on the overpass to maybe make a push on Exotics here. Melicide has picked up Gifu. Gifu was trying to sneak in from the car park. No luck though, Melicide was paying attention. And the last 2 members of Godsting are now on the overpass, fighting between Rasmus and Danny Valdemir. Darlena's trying to get a nade there onto Rasmus, but no luck. And they are trying to make a push now. Exotics is going to get out of his vehicle. Good early nade there from Rasmus, but no luck. It's not going to find purchase on Exotics Vegas. Danny Valdemir gets a pick on Melicide, but Exotics returns the favour by picking off Gifu. They are going to pick up the item here, though. Danny Valdemir does pick it up for Venia. 4 minutes 20 on the clock. They do have a 30-point deficit here, so it's going to be a big push for Venia to try and retake the lead here. And it is going to drain a lot of the time of this match as well. Meanwhile, Exotics is on the overpass here, trying to make picks onto Danny Valdemir. Not having too much luck, though, as they get pressured by Melicide as well. Melicide is looking to try and get a kill on Rasmus, and is successful as they make a move onto the objective here. All members of Godsting now pushed down to kind of close in on the point and pick off the last few members of Venia. Gifu is kind of stuck behind one of the pillars of the overpass and gets picked off there, and Darlena also picks off the last member of Venia. Another team wipe for Godsting as their lead increases to a 30-point lead now. 64 to 31. Or if you can see on Exotics feed, 68 to 31. It's slightly ahead of what I'm looking at here. It looks like Venia are trying to sneak their way in. They are trying to make maneuvers through the alleyways, close to the objective. Rasmus is getting in position here, but he's not going to start shooting until his other teammates are in position and ready to go. It does look like one other member is there, gets a distraction on Darlene. Gifu gets the kill. Exotics gets the pick on Gifu, has swapped to an HVR. It's all to play for now as Rasmus gets some grenades in on Exotics, trying to pressure him away, but it does look like Danny Valdemir is going to push the overpass here and try and put some pressure onto Exotics and see if he can distract him long enough. Rasmus pushes in for the kill. What a pincer maneuver there from Venia there, not giving Exotics any angle to really survive. Perfect maneuver there by Venia. And hopefully they'll be able to grab the point, but they're going to have to do this quickly. There is not long left, and they have a huge point deficit now. It is going to go into overtime if they wish to win this. So they're going to have to really get moving here, but it looks like Exotics from Godsting is already back in position from his respawn. He's starting to get picks here on both Danny Valdemir and Gifu. They are trying to make moves in, but they're not holding it. Darlene is floating around the objective, trying to stop them from getting anywhere near. I think this is all she wrote for round 3, I'm afraid. There's such a point deficit now from Venia. They have managed to pick it up again, but too little too late. Rasmus dying instantly there. Exotics converting the item once again quickly. Orgasm Reaper trying to make a push in on Exotics here. Gets him to low HP, but he is in one-shot potential from the HVR. Good vertical grenade, but he doesn't see the maneuver. Danny Valdemir makes a very good maneuver there on Exotics. Completely throws him off. And they are managing to grab the item again, but they haven't got long. Only 1 minute 40 on the clock and just under an 80-point deficit here. That's going to take them 160 seconds plus to retake that and get that back into the lead. But there's only 1 minute 20 on the clock. They haven't got the time. This is going to go to overtime, and if that item gets picked up just once by Godsting, they're going to win this round.
I don't know if that was allowed, but we will see.
Looks like Godsting are trying to approach from all angles here. They've got Darlena at the top of Tiptoe. They've got Melicide floating around the opposite side of the overpass. And Exotics has retaken his position on top. They're going to approach this and strike from multiple locations. We'll have to wait and see what Venia kind of do to respond to this, as they are floating around kind of underneath and inside. But it looks like Melicide does get the first pick there on Gifu. Darlena's closing in from behind, and Exotics is supporting from above. Gets a good pick there on Rasmus. Darlena gets the pick on Danny Valdemir, and then finishes off Rasmus with a 45. A good, really surgical strike there from Godsting. Really coordinated maneuvers there, and we're able to get a really, really clean triple kill. And like that, round 3 goes to Godsting. So it is match point for Godsting. If they win one more round, they have won the first match of the CET 2022 Open.
We're gonna... Oh wait, did we attack? Yeah, we attacked now, right? Yeah. We're gonna defend now, I guess. Or wait, maybe we have to swap Crim actually, I think.
This looks like it's going to be a clean sweep for Godsting, unfortunately, for Venia. But there is everything still to play for. Venia are still in the winnings, and it's not over till it's over. We'll have to wait and see if they're going to have a think about how they're going to approach this. They're going to have to win 4 matches in a row if they want to take this first round of the tournament. So they cannot afford to lose a single match. From a single round from here on out. I am mixing my words, apologies. But with Godsting's aggression and much better team play and coordination, this is going to be extremely difficult for them to do so. I personally don't see this happening, and I must be honest, I do see this going in the direction of Godsting 4-0. But we'll have to wait and see as we go to the final round here. Now, as it is the 4th round, we are swapping sides. So Godsting will be swapping over to the Criminals, and Venia will be swapping over to their Enforcer counterparts. We're just waiting for both teams to do so now, and whilst they do, we'll just quickly go back to here. So, we're 3-0 down onto the first match of the CET Open. Godsting taking a very, very strong lead at the start there, and really showing domination in the first match. It's going to be all to play for Venia, and it's only an uphill struggle from them here. They cannot afford to make any more mistakes or afford to lose any more rounds if they wish to stay in this tournament. But for Godsting, they can relax now a little bit. They've got plenty of padding just in case they lose one round or two. They are still on match point. But if Venia are able to secure 3 wins in a row, then we are going to go to a tiebreaker special. I really hope we get to see this in the tournament. We might not see it today, but I do hope we see it at some point, which is going to be a very special mission which has been designed exclusively for this tournament, so we hope to see it. You have already heard what mission it is. It is a special item hold, but we'll hopefully get to see it at some point in this tournament, maybe one of the later matches next week. But after that, so just to give you a rough idea, next week we've got 2 matches for you. Starting on Saturday, the 8th of October at 6 PM UTC, we have got G-Kings versus Last Chance. And then on Sunday after that, we have Ultimate Matori versus Smartless. And then finally, once we have confirmation, we'll have the 4th match of the starting round, which will be Slay'em versus Lovers in the Air. So next week you've got 2 matches to look forward to. They should be quite close, I reckon, as opposed to what we've seen so far in the tournament. I hope they are going to be closer matches so we can see a little bit more back and forth. But kudos to Venia so far for playing as well as they have. We have seen moments of brilliance from them, small but sweet moments that have really managed to change the course of that particular stage, albeit not for long enough, as Godsting have been able to adapt to the situation and overcome it. So we're just waiting for both teams here to organise themselves. They're just getting their equipment, their vehicles and their weapons ready. They're probably having a few chats here. And once we're ready, we'll get you right back onto the feeds and we'll get you right back into the action. Just while we wait for the teams to get ready here, we're almost done. I think both teams are almost ready to go here as they have swapped over to the opposite factions. It has been interesting to see the HVR being used a little bit more. From what I've heard from people who've been playing this game over the last 2 years since I've been away, the HVR has kind of run out of meta and less people are starting to use it. I'm not sure how true that is. I am taking it from hearsay and face value, obviously. But it is nice to see the HVR getting some action in this tournament already, as I expected. A very powerful weapon, 850 damage straight off the bat. That can take anyone out of a fight pretty quickly. And especially in a team composition like this, they can definitely utilise that weapon to its effectiveness and really make the other team think about which target they need to go for first. I think it's going to be the same as it was years ago. The person with the HVR needs to be eliminated first before they really can start making moves on the objective. And if they don't, they're going to be in trouble. But it looks like both teams here are ready to go. And we'll get you right back into the feeds now as we continue with round 4 of the first match for CET 2022. And here we go, round 4. This mission is constructive criticism. The attackers are Venia, the defenders are Godsting. This is match point for Godsting. They are able to get to the defense location first, but remember, the attacking team will have to break into a dump truck and then deliver it to a location eventually. Defenders are lined up and ready to go. And they're already set up, but it does look like here comes Venia. They're trying to make a push in. We'll have to wait and see what they decide to do here. All three of them are pushed through and are trying to push Darlena away from a defensive position here and trying to pick off the members of Godsting one at a time, but no luck. Danny Valdemir does get picked off there by Yuriku. That's Darlena. Exotics trying to support. Good support there. Meliside getting a good concussion grenade there on who I think is Rasmus. Yes, indeed. So their last member... oh, good heavens. Who is their last member? Durrell? No, Gifu. Sorry. As Gifu gets picked off there by a concussion grenade and support there by Darlena. Meliside getting the kill there. They are starting to make moves in. Rasmus has managed to sneak sort of close to the point. He is going to try and utilise the inside of this building, sneak through this little way through, and possibly try and get an angle on the point to see where the defenders are. But at the moment, no information from them other than the two car spawns near the objective. Danny Valdemir's on the opposite side of the point, ready to strike. Gifu has synced up there with Rasmus. They're looking to start making moves now from both the outside and in. The defenders are on the opposite side of the objective. It looks like Meliside has been found there by Rasmus. He hasn't managed to get the kill. Manages to find Darlena as well. Gets a few lucky hits on there. Danny Valdemir is trying to push in from the opposite side and try and get a kill. Oh no! Oh no, this will be shown in just a moment, but Exotics has team killed Meliside with an HVR accidentally. This is going to give Venia the one-up that they might need. Exotics has spotted both of them trying to push in. They are trying to move in, but Exotics has got a very strong position there with the HVR, and this is what I was talking about. He's going to be able to hold this quite comfortably. Danny Valdemir gets tagged there. Gifu gets tagged and gets picked off by Darlena. That HVR really coming in clutch here and holding them off. All three of them, really. Meliside manages to get a pick there on... I can't remember which member of the team of Venia that is, but Danny Valdemir manages to pick off Darlena at least. But they aren't able to make any move. There's only one member of Venia alive at the moment who can really make a move here. Rasmus has respawned now. Danny Valdemir is in the spot, ready to go. And it looks like Gifu is starting to make moves as well. But as you can see, Godsting are already set up and ready to go. But Gifu manages to get a pick there with an Oscar from the opposite side of the map on Exotics, and they have managed to flank round and pick off the HVR first. This might be interesting. And it looks like the other members of Venia are starting to move in now. Rasmus gets a pick on Darlena. This is all falling apart for Godsting on the first on the first stage here of this round. And they are starting to take the point here. Oh, but this is going to take a while. Godsting are starting to make their way in from the spawn point of where Venia spawned in from before. Exotics getting a pick there, but too little, too late. It looks like Venia has managed to steal the vehicle. Rasmus does get picked off, and they are celebrating in their team chat. Danny Valdemir getting an important and crucial kill on Exotics. And they are now going to try and drop off the objective, but they have another dump truck to pick up here and drop off at the objective, so we'll have to wait and see which one they decide to go for first. Now, with regards to Godsting, they've got to think about this. How are they going to deal with the dump trucks? They have a lot of HP, but they are very slow. Coordinated concussions could get rid of them, but Venia could do something to protect those trucks in the meantime. Rasmus getting a pick there on Darlena. Bad nade there on Exotics, and Exotics is able to get away, but is able to get onto the point now. It looks like they are going to try and drop off the objective first. Exotics has now taken the overpass overlooking the second dump truck that Venia need to capture, and is just floating around looking to see what to do. Meliside is hiding in the porter cabins in that construction area, looking to try and get a pick, but it looks like Venia have decided to go all in and drop off the objective first, and then focus their efforts on taking the second dump truck. They have 5 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock to take both the truck and drop it off, so this is going to be very difficult for them. And it's going to be stress all the way to the end of the stage. They have to win every single point here, no matter what. So we move over to Godsting's feed here. It looks like Melicide has managed to get an initial pick here on Danny Valdemir as they're starting to make their way over to Objective B, the second dump truck. Exotics tagging Melicide there for some reason, not sure why, but it looks like they're just waiting for the attackers to come in now. Danny Valdemir is starting to make a move on the overpass. He has brought a T-25 with him. Both Darlena and Exotics are just roaming in their Vegases on top of the overpass. Danny Valdemir is poised and waiting to strike. Just waiting for his two teammates to move in as Gifu goes with his car under the overpass here. But it does look like Danny Valdemir is a little bit out of position. He won't be able to support too much. And it does look like Rasmus is trying to get an angle here as Exotics switches to an A-Lig to remove Gifu from the game. In his vehicle. Danny Valdemir now trying to get a pick on Darlena and then just gets twatted by a vehicle. Excuse my language, run over by a vehicle. As they use the A-Lig to remove the mobile car spawn from the overpass. Only one member of Venia alive and active at the moment, as it sounds like Melicide has found them at least. And it does look like Rasmus is trying to get a pick on Melicide outside of the effective range of the OBIR. But no effectiveness, unfortunately. And it does look like Exotics might push in here and pick off Rasmus. Instead, he gets picked up by an HVR and then dies due to fall damage, unfortunately. As Exotics moves back onto the overpass, Venia have chosen to blow up the objective and respawn it in a different location. Unfortunately for them, that has spawned in a better position for Godsting to defend. This is going to be even harder for them to attack now. Godsting making good use of the overpass here and defending very effectively, using all the angles they can, really not giving Venia any chance to hold an angle and make a push on them, making it very difficult for them to get a sight line. Making good use of their vehicles as well to traverse from one position to another, keeping them safe. But it looks like Yuriku has been picked off by Rasmus. A good flick shot there. I did miss it, but you'll see it on his feed if you're watching his feed directly. It looks like Venia are now going to try and make a push on Exotics here, as Exotics is just going to distract them, whilst Rasmus goes for the point. He does get picked off a little bit, does get damaged and has to run away. One of, I think it was Melicide that spotted Rasmus pushing onto the point. Gifu is looking to try and make a move on Exotics here, but isn't really making too much progress. Danny Valdemir is getting rushed by Exotics here. Hasn't got any cover and has been picked off. Gifu has been caught out in the open underneath the overpass by Exotics and will get picked off there by him with the A-Lig and high magnification scope. Something I didn't think we would see in this tournament, especially on the A-Lig. Interesting. But that's a 2-kill there from Exotics. The last one, Danny Valdemir, stuck now on the ramp up to the overpass. Does manage to pick him off. Danny Valdemir does manage to get the pick there on Exotics. Very effective. Rasmus is now trying to get a pick on, I think it was Melicide or Darlena, who was at the spawn point. But he is going to get back onto the point here. He tries to capture the objective from the back, but you will have to break in from the doors. They do manage to get a 2-man kill there. Danny Valdemir picking off Exotics and Gifu picking off Melicide. Exotics now being pressured again by Gifu, and Gifu does manage to pick him up on his respawn. Danny Valdemir there looking to try and pick off the last member. Darlena does get picked off by Danny Valdemir, and it looks like Rasmus is going to take the objective. They have 1 minute 30 on the clock to drop this off, but remember, Exotics does have the A-Lig. This is all going to come down to the wire, I think, as we look. And it looks like they are going to start making moves with the dump truck now. Will Godsting try to push early and stop them early, or will they just hold them at the objective? It looks like Gifu is trying to spot where the members of Godsting are before they move in, but here it comes. Here's the big showdown. They're diving straight for it, and it looks like Godsting are just going to follow them in. Yuriku's going to get a good concussion on, and it looks like the A-Lig is going to get some damage onto the dump truck, but the dump truck does make it through. Is the A-Lig going to do enough damage in time to try and stop it before it gets to the objective? It doesn't look like it. Gifu does manage to get a pick there, and it does look like we're going to go to stage 3. Good manoeuvres there by Venia, able to really make a desperation attempt to finish that stage off, and we go to stage 3. It's no easier for Venia, though. They've got 3 objectives to defuse and 7 minutes on the clock to do it in. And these are going to be the porter cabins from that location on the overpass that Godsting were defending from before, as you can see here. And as a result, Godsting are already there, but Venia are already there as well. Gifu 85'd there and picked off. Looks like Rasmus is going to try and get a maneuver there on Rasmus. Does on Exotics, manages to get the pick. And it looks like Rasmus is going to try and move in now and get one of the objectives started, or at least pick off the last remaining members of Godsting that are in the area. One grenade below, one pick up top on Yuriku, but Yuriku does get the kill. Exotics is slowly starting to make his way into the defense spot. He is 180 meters out, does have a vehicle at the ready, and will make his way in now. The attackers are still kind of encircling the objective. They're not really making too many maneuvers onto the point. They are trying to find a way in that they can exploit in the defences of Godsting and hopefully get a team wipe here, because anything less is not going to be enough for them. They have enough time on their hands to play this out. Danny Valdemir does manage to get a pick on Yuriku there. So only 2 members of Godsting left. And it looks like the action is on. Melicide manages to get a pick on Gifu, so it's 2 versus 2 now. Exotics has gotten the overpass. Melicide has managed to pick off Rasmus as well, with support from Exotics. And Danny Valdemir, the last one for Venia, alive, hiding down below between the buildings. Exotics has spotted him. Melicide closes the angle and finishes him off. Another team wipe there for Godsting once again. And the members of Venia are probably going to be sweating quite hard now. They only have 5 minutes left to get these 3 objectives. It sounds like a lot of time, but with how Godsting's defense has been so far, this is going to be very difficult, and they're probably going to need all the time they have. It looks like they are trying to get long-range angles here and try to provide Overwatch support to try and remove that highway supremacy from Godsting and force them off the overpass so that they have a little bit of an angle to push in from as the other members of Venia move in with their vehicles. Rasmus will hold this location across on top of a building 80 meters away from the objectives to try and see if he can just damage them a little bit, put a little bit of pressure onto the members of Godsting before the other members of Venia move in and hopefully sweep the kill. And here we go. Looks like Danny Valdemir has found an angle on both Yuriku and Exotics, but Exotics is in his vehicle. He's going to maneuver around him and possibly try and get another angle. Exotics won't be able to play too aggressively here. He only has the A-League primary. He will have to rely on the Colby 45 or good cover to even the odds here against Danny, but Danny does get tagged by one of the members of Godsting. He is now in a bit of a pickle. He's going to get back into his vehicle, which may not be a smart move. Gifu is coming in to support and try and pick off Exotics here. Good use of the grenade, but he's going to get caught out by the other member of Godsting. Gifu's not paying attention. Exotics jumps out the last second. He doesn't capitalise on it, and Gifu does manage to get the kill on Exotics there with support by Danny Valdemir, but all members of Venia had to commit to that attack, which is not good. There is still a car spawn right on the objective D location, so Exotics is going to get straight back in here for Godsting and be able to defend the point. So that entire push, just a waste of time, and that waste of time costed 2 minutes for Venia to make a push here. They still have people on the overpass, but the Godsting are bolstering their defences up top. Gifu is trying to make a push here on both Yuriku and Exotics. I don't think he realises that Exotics is there. He doesn't. Exotics gets the grenade kill on Gifu. And there goes some of that all-important push that they needed. Rasmus, from his support Overwatch position, does get picked up by Melicide's Act 44 GM. And Danny Valdemir here getting pressured by 2 members of Godsting as the last member. Oh, he sneaks into the vehicle. Very smart there by Danny Valdemir. He doesn't manage to make anything of it, and Exotics just stands there and drops him. Rasmus does manage to find Exotics, gets a little bit of damage on him as he climbs up the ramp onto the overpass, but he's got a big open area of that ground to cover before he gets close. It's going to be difficult. Exotics does have a better position here to defend from. There's only 2 minutes left on the clock, and none of the objectives have even been started yet properly. They're going to need all the time they have left to do this, and they're going to need a team wipe otherwise. You're looking at your first winners of the CET 2022 tournament in match 1. Godsting will win this in 1 minute 35 seconds or so if Venia are unable to take these 3 objectives, and it's all to play for here. Here we go. Venia have dived in here. Danny Valdemir dives out. Gets killed by Exotics. He does manage to pick up Darlena. Melicide picks up Gifu. The last member of Venia, Rasmus, is still alive, but he's not going to be there for much longer. Is getting peppered by Exotics there. Melicide does get the kill with the AK-44. It's another team wipe by Godsting. Really, really efficient and effective defensive play here. Admittedly, it's quite an easy spot to defend for them. I think they know this place very, very well. They've played this game for thousands of hours. They definitely know this side of the map better than quite a few others. But it does look like there's one mad dash in the last minute from Venia. They're all pushing in together at the same time from the same location. I don't know how much they're going to be able to do here, but Exotics does get a kill with a grenade on Gifu. Melicide blows up Danny Valdemir's card. Rasmus is the last alive, and it is another team wipe by Godsting. There's only 40 seconds left on the clock. I don't think Godsting are going to have any difficulties here. Venia, I don't think, have enough time to win this. Unfortunately, I think that's it for Venia. It looks like Godsting are going to take this one. 20 seconds left on the clock here. Venia nowhere to be found. Yoriku does get a pick on Danny Valdemir there with the scout. Only 2 members of Venia still left alive. 10 seconds left to go. 5 seconds now, and your winners of the first round of the CET 2022 Open 4-0 goes to Godsting. Congratulations. Commiserations there for Venia. They did put up their best efforts. They did try, as you heard on some of their communications. They were sweating quite a bit. They were trying their best, but unfortunately it wasn't enough this time. Godsting go through quite comfortably, quite happily into the semi-finals. And there we are, quite a convincing victory there for Godsting, utilising all the angles available to them at every stage, being aggressive where they needed to be, being quick and efficient where they needed to be, and then slowing down and using efficient distraction strategies there to really throw off Venia's assault at any one point. Especially on the defence as well, Venia really didn't have the speed to mobilise and set themselves up at any point, making it very easy for Godsting to just move in and take the objectives and pick off each member of Venia one by one. As well, Venia also had the difficulty where most of their attacks led into a 2v1 scenario, and from Godsting's perspective, they were quite comfortable in holding that 2v1 scenario. All the members of Godsting were quite capable and comfortable dealing with 2 members of Venia on their own, and it would only take a couple of seconds before one of the members of Godsting managed to move in and support their teammate in distress. So much better coordination there from Godsting overall for all faculties of this kind of format. So good aggressive play working as a team, good attacks from various different angles at the same time, not giving Venia any angles to hold or any cover to hide behind and defend. Good use of grenades and striking at the same time there, shooting the vehicle at the same time as using a grenade. Again, fundamentals, but very well perfected by Godsting here in this first match. And a very, very powerful and strong outing from them at the get-go. This is going to send a message to the other teams in the tournament, definitely, and has set the bar for what we need to expect, or what the other teams will need to be able to do as we move into the semi-finals and move into the next rounds of the tournament. And especially whoever goes up against Godsting next, which will either be Slay'em or Lovers in the Air, they will have seen this footage as well, I'm sure, and they'll have a bit of notes on what they'll need to do to tackle this powerful team moving into that round later in the tournament. But as for now, that is it from us from CET. You can expect us next week on both Saturday and Sunday, the 8th and 9th of October at 6 and 5 PM UTC respectively, if I can read that correctly on my screen. But that is it from us for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much indeed to everyone being here. Thank you once again to everyone from CET for making this happen and making this possible. Thank you for the support that we got from the community of APB, as well as the GMs of APB helping to make this tournament a reality. So we hope to see you again next week, and we hope to see you bright and early, hopefully at the correct time next week on the 8th of October, where G-Kings will be taking on Last Chance to see if they can make it into the semi-finals of the CET Open. Thank you very much indeed for watching today, and we will see you next week.